was cool. Greetings and good evening, everybody. Jonathan here, coming to you live from the park that I grew up in here in Oregon. And today I wanted to share a video based on some revelations I've been having with some of my clients. And it's getting pretty interesting here. Oh, notice I have some smoothie right on my cheek. You know, gotta prep up before, I go live, it's important. Yeah, so it's fascinating because recently I've been having some deep revelations. I was at Beloved Music Festival, and Beloved is essentially a conscious community gathering, bringing together people who would identify as being spiritual, or people who would identify as being conscious, and it's like this super fast weekend where basically you just drop deep into conversation, and it's like a vortex. It's like a massive vortex of mini microcosmic vortexes of badass humans who are doing amazing work in the world. And as you move through this weekend, through this time and through this space, time being 4D, space being 3D, you start to have fifth dimensional experiences. And I want to share some of them because one of the deepest revelations I had was this idea around entering into the field of consciousness and actually being able to engage with the field, because I've been talking a lot about this idea of how the three-dimensional reality is created from the quantum field. It starts in that field of energy, and from that field of energy, everything is expressed. All of our reality is expressed. And that field of energy is infinite, and we are infinite, but why is it that we oftentimes get caught into these mental programs, into these unconscious beliefs, and into old behaviors that are oftentimes handed down to us through our lineage, through our ancestors, through our family lines? And how can we break that cycle, right? And so I was meeting with a client recently, and she was just explaining and expressing how she's been relapsing back into the same experiences, back into the same addictions, and she can't figure out why. And I asked her, what is your purpose? Like, what do you feel is your purpose in life? And she honestly felt like she did not have a purpose. And I asked her if she has a relationship with God or with the universe, and the way that she described it was essentially like, yeah, I believe in a higher power. Yeah, I believe that there's something there, but I don't really believe in it. She didn't really actually believe in it. And I feel like there's this big gray area for so many people, because I grew up in a Christian family, but now I identify as being a recovering Christian. I don't necessarily identify with one religion. I identify with all the religions. But the problem is, for a lot of people that I see, is that a lot of people have a hard time even identifying with any religions. In fact, there's a blockage. There's a blockage to belief systems, and I get it. I know that we want to be infinite beings, and I think that it's important, to identify and saying, like, yeah, there's no one right way. There's no one path, right? It's like honoring all the paths. But here's the thing. If we don't have the capacity to break free from the mental programs that held us back from believing in a higher power, then we're never going to be able to fully accept our inner power as the infinite creators of our reality. If we cannot embrace that there is a higher governing source of energy that is moving throughout this planet and looking through our eyes, then how are we going to access that energy? And so that's what I wanted to share today, is like all about surrendering to your higher power. Surrendering to your higher power. Now, one of the things that I think is fascinating about my experience with my religious upbringing is this idea of surrender. And when we surrender to a higher power, it's this feeling of letting go. It's a feeling of liberating ourselves from holding on to the pain, right? Because so often we hold on to pain. We're holding on to pain consciously, and we're holding on to pain unconsciously. You know what I mean? Like the old story that, was the trauma story, that it was so built into my neurology, into my neural pathways, my neural programs, my mental programs. It was so built into me that by the time that I had finally gone through the process of waking the fuck up, by the time I finally started to do the work, the deep transformational and transmutational work, by the time I got on that path, all of a sudden I was unconsciously addicted to pain and suffering. And suddenly there was no story, because I dealt with the story, right? And same with my client. Like, she has given up this, this drug, but she keeps going back to it. Why? Because, obviously the pain of the drug, the pain of that addiction continues to lead her to the same place, to this place of like destruction. But why do we keep picking it back up? Well, because it gets us to that feeling, right? It gets us to that point of rapture, that point of surrender, that point of wholeness, of fullness, that point where our blood is just pumping with energy and vitality. But did you know that you can get there without drugs? And I had a really powerful revelation this weekend that I wasn't thinking about sharing, but in this moment I'm feeling compelled to, because I had a moment this weekend where I was doing a therapeutic dosage of a psychedelic medicine that an organization called MAPS is using, a lot of MDMA that is used to treat trauma. And in fact, throughout my journey of healing myself from trauma, from PTSD, from childhood abuse, I was able to use that medicine to wake me up. And essentially what it showed me, what it gave me, was the feeling of ecstasy. It allowed me to feel what ecstasy felt like in a time in my life when I had so much pain and I didn't know what ecstasy felt like. And maybe I'm curious, for those of you who are watching, like, have you ever experienced moments of ecstasy with or without drugs before? I want to know what you have experienced. Like, what is your experience with the feeling of ecstasy? Because I think that we get it when we make love. We get it when we make love to ourselves. We get it when we are running. We get it when we are playing. We get it when I'm surfing. I get it when I am dancing, ecstatic dance. But fuck, I don't even know. Like, not very many people surf and do ecstatic dance and do ecstasy. And, a lot of people make love, and that's good. And I think that a lot of us find it that way, and that's beautiful. But the art of surrender, to surrender to our higher self, in the moment that we do, we release the stories that prevent us from experiencing those moments of ecstasy. So I did this, I took in this medicine, and when I got it and when I finally turned on, I realized, oh my God, I don't need this anymore, because I have been practicing so much. I have been meditating so much. Every morning when I meditate, I experience ecstasy. That is the state that I'm going for. That is the moment of rapture. That is the state of consciousness that I am aiming for when I wake up first thing in the morning. And I want to teach this. This is what I really want to teach, because I've been doing this practice for about 2 years now, and gotten to a point where now I'm just having psychedelic experiences before breakfast. I'm like having these crazy lucid dreaming experiences, and I'm starting to become more awake in my dreams than I am asleep in my dreams. And I think that's important, because as we begin to commit our life to waking up, as we begin to initiate ourselves as the shamans, as the change makers, initiating ourselves as the healers, as the light workers, or as the leader of your reality, as you initiate yourself. A self-initiation means that you say, right now in this moment, I'm making the conscious decision to begin walking on a higher path of elevation, a higher elevated path, meaning that from this moment forward, I no longer want to listen to the old story, the limiting beliefs. They no longer want to identify with the old story anymore. I want to create a new fucking story. You know what I mean? It's time to create a new story and let go of the ones that our family or our friends or anyone that we surround ourselves by in the community thinks that we are or what we should be. We gotta break free from that. And the moment that we do that, we're taking our power back. And I mean that in the least cliche way possible, but even more cliche, because here's the thing. I'm starting to get cold. I'm gonna do my little yoga squat here. Yeah. I'm getting barreled in a Facebook Live. My yoga teacher, Shiva Ray, told me, if you ever get cold, just do a squat like this and engage your perineum, and it'll turn your body on. So I've been noticing more and more that as I'm driving around, you may have seen it, everyone's holding onto their phones, right? And this is not just happening in America or Europe. This is happening in Indonesia. This is happening in Beijing. This is happening in islands around the planet, Costa Rica. This is happening in Central America. It's like happening all over the world. Everyone has these smartphones and everyone is sharing their data. And the data scientists are getting smarter and smarter. And guess who's getting not smarter? Anyone who's holding their phone for 10 hours a day, staring at a screen for hours and hours and hours and hours. And what happens is over a decade of this, you start to become unconsciously addicted to this technology. Now, I'm preaching to the choir here. I know I'm part of this, right? I'm literally holding a phone, talking into it, and this is part of my reality too. But I'm extremely passionate about the evolution of consciousness, because we're at this important moment in time where basically it's the evolution of consciousness. It's the great awakening of consciousness and spirituality on our planet. It's a time where we're experiencing a singularity or a unification between science and spirituality. This is a time where research, actual research that is being peer-reviewed by universities, is proving that the human spirit and the human soul and the human body, the human mind, has the ability to heal itself from cancer and terminal illness. This is like the most exciting time to be alive, and we're all just fucking numbing out and Netflix and chilling. Now I get it, like, it's hard when you gotta work a job. It's hard when you gotta, if you're a mom or a dad and you got kids and you got demands. I know it's hard, but there's always those late night hours, those early morning hours to drop in and begin cultivating your consciousness and your soul. Because here's the thing, the moment that we start to take that power back and we don't just turn off the mind, we don't just turn the TV on and turn off the brain, if we start leaning into the edge of our personal transformation, the universe is going to respond by bringing opportunities and synchronicities. It's going to bring abundance. It's going to bring money. It's going to bring up new people, new environments, new experiences that never existed before. And this is the process of waking up. This is the process of communicating with the universe. And as I was speaking about earlier, tapping into your higher power, tapping into your higher power, to your source, that divine source of creativity, that divine source of creation that is literally you. That is literally you. That is breathing your body. That source of energy that is calling itself by Jonathan. I do not separate myself from it. I don't say, oh, dear God, out there in the heavens. I'm like, oh, dear God, in here, in the heavens of my mind. Now, I also draw the line with the ego. I don't say I am, I do, but in a different frequency, right? It's like we can't let it overcome us, but we do have to come to a deep reverence and revelation that when we surrender to the fact that the universe is experiencing life as us, through us, and it wants to experience a full expression of itself through you, that is when we can truly start to surrender to that higher self. And this is the access point. The access point is the present moment. And that's the magic. That's the beauty of it, right? The beauty is that it's like, okay, yeah, I want to initiate myself as the creator of my reality. I want to initiate myself as the hero of my journey. I want to initiate myself to a new timeline, to a new reality, starting now. And I'm going to break the cycle of my unconscious beliefs. I'm going to start affirming my reality into existence. I'm going to start writing a new book. Instead of thinking about my old story, I'm going to start writing a new story. These kids are playing over here. And from this moment forward, I'm just going to start taking small steps towards creating a new life. And I'm going to do an experiment with the universe to see if I were to make small shifts in my reality, what would happen? And you make an agreement with the universe, and the universe will respond. Trust me, I do this all the time. I've been traveling the world for 4 years straight, 4.5 going on, and everywhere I go, I'm constantly writing contracts with the universe. I'm constantly in prayer. I'm constantly talking to God. I'm constantly experimenting with my meditation, experimenting with my sleep cycles, experimenting with my medicine ceremonies, experimenting with my communication with myself, experimenting with my self-pleasure practice, experimenting with my breathwork practice, doing these things. And it's fascinating how the miracles just keep on happening. They keep on happening. I am living proof. I no longer have anything to hide. It's not about hiding. It's literally about us helping each other to ascend together, because the faster that we support each other in waking up, the more that we can all wake the fuck up together. Then we can come out of the field into 3-dimensional reality and create heaven on earth. And that's what we're here for, you guys. That's what we're here for. And that's what I was at Beloved Music Festival last weekend, and it was so beautiful. I mean, beloved, the word itself comes from Dr. Martin Luther King, who talks about the beloved community. The beloved community is what he believed when people would come together and come and live as one, where all people are equal. And we got to experience that little microcosm this weekend, and it was beautiful. And so, yeah, I just want to share this video and set the intention that if you are on the same or similar path of activating a new timeline, a new vision for your future, if you're on the path to pursuing your dharma, your life purpose, if you're creating an offering that is based on your soul's calling, and this offering could be a business, it could be a nonprofit, it could be an NGO, it could be a community initiative, whatever that might be, I want to encourage you to reach out to me and talk to me about it, because it would be a gift and an honor to support you in that way. And just then, as I'm talking, this amazing woman right here, my mom, is coming up here.
Who are we talking to?
Oh, we're just doing a little Facebook Live.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. This is my mom.
I was going to tell you that we have Thai food here.
What?
Yeah.
Miracles. See,
I'm going to take a quick once and around.
Okay, cool.
Nice to talk with you.
Okay, love you.
You too.
I'm going to go to the gym. Okay, cool. Love you. Awesome. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Miracles abound. It is profound what happens when we make the commitment to pronounce our consciousness alive, to claim our moment in time, to begin to redefine the stories in our mind. The moment that we make that decision, there is a great cataclysm where we decide that we'll no longer reside in that old self that used to hold us back or that used to play it small, but rather that we're going to rise up into that position of power. The person who you have been waiting for to become begins right now, in this moment, right now. Sending you all my love from here in Oregon. And last little announcement that I'll share is that if you are interested in going super deep into the art and the science of manifesting your reality, I'm going to be hosting a biohacking and future mapping for leaders and luminaries event this coming Saturday, next week, not this weekend, next weekend. It's my last event in the United States of America, potentially for the year, which is actually kind of interesting to think about. Then I'm going to be going to Spain and then Israel and Europe, and who knows where the wind will blow. So come and join us. Doesn't matter where you are in the United States or the world, come to Portland. Portland is an amazing place to be. And right after my event, I'm going to be taking some friends out to the Fairy World Festival. If you haven't heard of it, check it out. Fairy World. It's like an actual festival where fairies come together and dance and play. There's a bunch of really cool DJs and performances that are going to be taking place. And yeah, let's all dress up like fairies and get weird. Send you all my love and aloha from here in Portlandia, Oregon. What's up, Astaria? What's up, Hunter? What's up, Claudia? Ruby? Oh, you guys rock. Oh my God, so grateful for you all to join me here. All right, well, I will see you all in the flow. And again, reach out to me if you want to connect. I would love to connect with you. Sending you all the love in the world. Peace and aloha.